if I could for a moment. I'm just going to read some comments that I have. We've come to the end of another year. It's been an honor to represent Rock Springs as your mayor, and I look forward to the new challenges ahead, as if we haven't had enough challenges this past couple of years. But I'm up for the new challenges, and I commend our city employees, our elected city officials, and the many volunteers who serve on our boards, commissions, and during all the events which take place throughout Rock Springs. These individuals have dedicated themselves to improving the quality of life of our citizens throughout the many events we have here in Rock Springs. One area I'd like to make note of is I'd like to thank our healthcare providers for their commitment in keeping our community safe during this pandemic and the many stressful hours worked on our behalf. I commend all of you for your efforts and for putting yourselves in harm's way in order to control the spread of this virus. I thank the many emergency responders of our community, and I'm proud of the many skilled professionals we have that work day in and day out, keeping our community safe and attending to those in need. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. I thank our veterans, past, present, and future, for the sacrifices made on our behalf. I thank all of you for your services for protecting our freedoms that we have here at home. And I'd like to thank the City Council and our department heads for your leadership and vision in building a better Rock Springs. It is a team effort that must continue. I think we've all been through a lot these last, especially this last year. It gets a bit depressing taking a beating all the time, but we'll stay focused and work on what we know is good. I want to thank my wife and my family for supporting me once again in this endeavor. And the families of our city councilors and department heads for the support they give to each and every one of you in the many hours that you're away from family events. I'd like to say funding will continue to be an issue as we'll take an aggressive approach to secure additional funding through the legislative process and search for available grants for worthwhile and needed projects for our city. Overall, the state's economic conditions are somewhat depressing, yet we're seeing a leveling point and a slight uptick in the sales tax portion of our revenues. As always, direct distribution from the state will be a topic which we will watch closely to ensure we do our best to secure our fair share of the distribution from the state and that we don't see a reduction in that distribution. Statewide unemployment is at 3.7% compared to about 5.2% in 2021. It seems as if the statewide economy is somewhat holding steady, yet with the many jobs we've lost in the coal sector and the natural gas fields, we can be assured that we'll continue to see revenues decline at the state level. We do see some growth in wind and solar areas, but we also know that these jobs pay lower wages and will not replace those jobs lost in coal and natural gas. That being said, it will be our plan to be as conservative as we possibly can as we move into 2022. As mentioned, the state's general fund and budget reserve account have somewhat stabilized as oil prices are currently at $77 a barrel, which is an increase from last year at this time at $63 a barrel. This affects all sectors that support the industry and becomes a snowball effect once oil hits $50 a barrel and activities in the industry are reduced, such as we've seen in the loss of jobs in some of the large-scale oil and gas service companies located here in Rock Springs. We do hope to see oil and gas sector continues to improve. Those jobs in the coal sector will continue to decline as coal production is reduced and eventually halted as is the goal of our nation's current administration. Trona remains strong, and we see expansions taking place at a few of our Trona plants, which is very positive for us. Diversification of our economy is a common goal of the entire nation and will continue to be our goal here in Sweetwater County. We do have the ability to secure businesses related to manufacturing to our county, and with the many valuable minerals and resources that our county is fortunate to have, we can be successful if we work together to build the necessary infrastructure to see these opportunities become reality, such as the Middle Baxter Industrial Park. $500 million will be distributed to the state of Wyoming through the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. which we'll hear a little bit more of from Senator Kolb, who's with us today, and I'd like to recognize. These funds have been made available to assist communities in recovery and transition from coal-related jobs and loss of revenues over the last couple of years. The governor's strike team has established 10 goals of Wyoming in which these funds should be utilized, and we will do our best to meet these goals and hopefully find opportunities within. As you all know, there are many cities and towns and counties battling for this available funding from the state and federal governments, and we will have to be very creative and aggressively participate in the legislative process and meet the requirements in order to achieve our goals here in Rock Springs and Sweetwater County, and secure funding that will build projects that bring opportunity and success to our area. In regards to the state of the city of Rock Springs, the most recent distribution for sales tax and use tax activity for November of 2021 was $1,439,935. This amount is 34% greater than what was received of January of 2021. To date, this puts us 8% ahead of last year, and we're currently 56% ahead of our projected sales tax for the fiscal year, and we will continue to adjust as needed as we plan this year's budget. Our goal will be to continue working to improve the quality of life for our citizens and ensure our infrastructure is in good condition and well maintained in a fiscally responsible manner. We have made positive changes in regards to how city departments do business and how they function. We've saved costs that are now being utilized to improve services to the community in other areas. We will continue to be accountable for taxpayers' dollars and transparent in all that we do. Our goal as elected officials is to constantly strive to improve the quality of life for our citizens and do our best to find funding mechanisms beyond just the general funds available. We've made great progress in securing funds to reconstruct the Bitter Creek and eventually remove residents and businesses out of the floodplain through our downtown area and along the creek channel so development can take place, all while eventually creating a much more appealing creek channel and walking and bike paths which will eventually connect our east side of town to our west side of town. We have completed the phase 1 portion of the First Security Bank building, which has been a goal for many years for us and a goal of the URA itself. We plan to submit the request for phase 2 this March, and I thank all those who have helped to make this happen and the support of the City Council, and I look forward to the day when the lights and the heat are back on in this building and we can see the many patrons partaking of all that this historic building will have to offer our community, including the many new events which will take place in Bank Court as we continue to improve the quality of life for our citizens. It's always great to preserve our history and to bring these relics back to life. In regards to infrastructure needs in Rock Springs, there are many infrastructure needs which need to be addressed. Through many discussions with department heads, the City Council will soon choose critical infrastructure projects to be proposed to the taxpayers this next election through a specific purpose tax proposition, which is a valuable tool in raising revenues for critical projects which otherwise could not be funded through the general fund. The projects suggested by our department heads and city councilors are valid and necessary projects that will improve the lives of our citizens. Please do your research. Attend public meetings, contact your counselors, and ask those questions to educate yourself prior to the upcoming election to clearly understand each of these projects, provide input as a taxpayer, and decide the importance that these projects have for the future of our city. I do look forward to the challenges ahead and look forward to working side by side with this City Council, our department heads, employees and other city, county, and state and federal agencies in a proactive manner to improve this city, remedy the problems, and create a community that we all can be proud of. The state of the city is good. We are blessed to have dedicated people working towards the common good of our citizens. We are stable at the current time, and hopefully as revenues continue to improve, our state of the city will continue to improve. A sign of improvement is our ability to move critical projects forward, maintain our staff, and avoid any further budget cuts. If we're not moving forward, we are idle and stagnant, which is not a place we want to be. Stagnation causes many problems, including higher costs for delayed projects due to inflation of labor and materials, replacement of equipment, and aging infrastructure. We need to constantly be working towards improvements. I thank you for your support and the support that you've given the City Council this past year, and wish you all a very healthy and happy new year.